Hi, this is David Birch. Today I'm looking at a study. Breathwork beats mindfulness. Question mark? Breathwork beats mindfulness? The name of the study is, and I'm going to read this, Brief Structured Respiration Practices Enhance Mood and Reduce Physiological Arousal. And it was published in Cell Reports Medicine. And I've got the links down in the description. One of the authors is a very famous Stanford neuroscientist and podcaster. So that's why you've seen a lot of YouTube videos of him and other people on a particular breathing technique called cyclic breathing, which is a conscious breathing practice using the physiological sigh. This was a remotely controlled study during the pandemic. And its aim was, quote, to examine the psychophysiological effect of controlled breathwork compared to mindfulness meditation. Here are the instructions in brief, and they're paraphrased for simplicity. Basically, you set a 5-minute timer and you perform your assigned practice and you journal. Here are the instructions for mindfulness. Focus on breathing normally and on the third eye area. If you lose focus, return to focus on the breath and then on the third eye area. So let me demonstrate. Just paying attention to normal breathing, albeit I probably breathe longer and deeper just naturally. You focus on your third eye. And after a while, as thoughts come in, you refocus and continue on. And then your 5-minute timer goes off. Cyclic breathing, also known as the physiological sigh. You inhale deeply and fully, and then you do a sharp inhale to make sure you're fully inhaled. And then you exhale, preferably through the mouth. Even longer. Keep it up for 5 minutes when your timer goes off. Box breathing. For box breathing, they had a really complicated thing on figuring out your max CO2, whatever your capacity, for how long you should hold box breathing. Now, box breathing is normally done, I see it like a 4 count. So it would look like an inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're just basically taking that natural pause that you would have in a breathing technique and holding it or pausing. So it would be like repeat for 5 minutes. Okay, this last one I don't practice, so I'm not the best person to demonstrate it. But they did 30 cycles of inhaling through the nose and passively exhaling through the mouth, followed by a complete emptying of the lungs and holding the breath for 15 seconds. But they only did that once after the 30 cycles. So they're focusing on the inhales. So this would be like breath of fire or like some of those other Bali breathing techniques where you're focusing mainly on inhales, like the exhale kind of happens behind the scenes. And then you do 30 cycles of that. Over a month, the researchers found that these techniques, all of them, improved mood and reduced anxiety. But cyclic sighing had the biggest effect, especially in reducing stress and slowing breathing. In addition, with this one particular technique, when practiced daily, the benefits tended to get better. Let's talk about some limitations. One, the study was not pre-registered. It was remote. It was during the pandemic. They have these people and they are giving them instructions and they're relying on self-reporting. That's not bad in itself. The sample size was small. There were limited comparisons between the different breathworks. I really like cyclic sighing, physiological sigh. I think is very useful. I would really like them to identify the minimal effective dose. Because as hinted to in their study, but not studied during this pre-study, was that it can be very effective with only a few breaths. So I would like to see the 5-minute daily versus the 1 to 3 breaths when you need it, when you feel stressed. I'd like to identify the minimal effective dose. I would like them to identify how long the minimal effective dose lasts. Because when it wears off, you're going to need to do it again. Which kind of brings me into why didn't they include heart coherent breathing in this? So just a very simple, and this is used by heart math and other things. Heart coherent breathing is when you inhale for a 5 count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale equally, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you do that for 5 minutes. It's very effective. It's heart resonance. It affects the nervous system. It affects your heart rate. And it gets your heartbeat in resonance with your breathing. So if before, like right now, I'm talking, so I'm kind of breathing like this, when I can, in between speaking, my heart is kind of doing the same thing, up and down, up and down, up and down. But when I breathe heart coherent, inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The heart rate starts to have the same kind of sine wave, matches the breath pattern. It's very effective for reducing stress. It's been shown to reduce cortisol. We kind of know through other studies that for most people it wears off after 4 hours. And so there is one approach to this called 365 breathing, where you breathe this way for 3 times a day. You do it for 5 minutes, 6 breaths a minute, 3 times a day, 365. So you do it in the morning, wears off in 4 hours, do it again, wears off in 4 hours, do it again. So that's why I would like to see the minimal effective dose study. And I would like to see the physiological sigh compared to heart coherent breathing. And then I would like to see it combined to another kind of mindful movement, like Qigong, where you're linking your breath with motion. And I would like to see that because I think it would be more enjoyable. One of the aspects of the study, one of the purposes, was to see if you can give somebody an exercise to do remotely, rely on self-reporting, and have it be successful. And you can see in the physiological sigh that daily practice was important, like a habit, and it kept on actually getting a little bit better, getting a little bit better every day the more that you practice. Daily practice, a daily habit was important. So I would like to see them compare that with another mindful movement where the breath isn't taken by itself and the mindfulness isn't taken by itself, but those are combined. You combined your breath, you link your breath with your motion in a mindful manner. So let's take heart coherent breathing. Instead of counting to yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and doing that for 5 minutes, like riding a bicycle, you kind of get the feel for how long that takes and you link that to your motion. So you would do like an inhale, exhale. You could close your eyes and relax, maybe even shifting your brain state into a different brain wave. But more importantly, I think this would be more enjoyable. And more enjoyable means easier to establish as a daily habit. Mindful movement arts, like Qigong and yoga, have literally, and I mean literally, been around for thousands of years. They have stood the test of time because people have found them to be beneficial. Now, sure, it is useful to take one piece out and make mindfulness. Sure, it is useful to take one piece out just for our breath work. They're useful, they're handy tools, they're great. But we also need to reassemble them back together and test about the synergy. How much better are they as they evolved over time? And I would like to see that compared.